Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream. Welcome and congratulations, folks. You made it to the show. We're going to get started in just about a minute, but I want to take a second and first of all congratulate weemankyle over on YouTube for First Comment of the Day Award. And now, as always, I want to remind you a couple of things. Number one, you should follow us on multiple platforms. That includes the Canary Cry Radio YouTube, especially all you Face Like the Sunners. You're going to want to follow us in multiple places on YouTube, but also twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And also, very important, remember to follow us with your favorite podcast catcher. Subscribe to Canary Cry News Talk on a podcast player. That will be the last resort when all the platforms get shut down. Okay, folks. And as usual, remember to stay hydrated. And let's get ready for the show. Here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is January 20th, 2021. This is episode 289, and today, Purple Rituals at the Capitol. And you know me, I'm not Garth Brooks singing Amazing Grace, but I am your best buddy Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events, which today is the Purple Ritual.
Ooh. Did you watch the inauguration live?
I did. I woke up, I rolled over, and I turned it on. It's watching it in bed. Yeah, the unity. Yeah, the doublespeak. The unity. There.
So much unity. You've got Garth Brooks singing "Amazing Grace." You've got Lady Gaga singing whatever she sings. And you've got Jeff Dunham's puppet Walter giving speeches. Yeah. You know what? I because the sun was right in Biden's eyes pretty much all day, and he had that sort of grimace, I'm like, I've seen that face before.
And then a producer
and then
gave
somebody
us a picture.
sent us, the picture of Jeff Dunham. He's a comedian, if you don't know, and he uses puppets. And he has a famous puppet that looks exactly like Joe Biden looking straight into the sun. So thank you for reminding me. But, there you go. It started early on our side of the world, Gonz.
Yeah, I was, well, I'm glad it's, semi-over, but I do feel sorry for some of our, I guess, peers out there that might have been really stoked on certain things taking place today.
Oh, we'll definitely go through that.
I was highlighting to friends and not family, but friends that nothing was a big option for today. You know, that nothing would happen.
It seems like everybody forgot about that option.
Yeah, the nothing option, which
nothing would happen and everything would go according to plan.
Well, somewhat according to plan. There are things that happen that we can break down, that we will break down on this episode, but before we do, did you actually have a Flippy update?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Did you want to?
Yeah. Real quick. I'll do it real quick.
You had mentioned that you had a weird dream too, but I don't know if you want to get to that first or what.
Yeah, let's just do the dream real quick because dreams usually are boring, and this one, I don't know, it's just very interesting.
You're doing the green thing again on the screen, so can you unvideo and revideo? Boop. Sorry, Basil's thing.
I'm doing the green thing. You're doing the green thing.
Yeah,
there we go. For those who are just listening, sometimes Gonz's video card just can't handle it, and I turn all green. So I had a weird dream. It's kind of a stress dream. You mentioned you had kind of a stressful dream as well.
Did, yeah.
But this one was very poignant. I don't think it has anything, I don't know. Sometimes dreams are just dreams, but this one was very interesting because it was nighttime in the dream, and there was some sort. I was just hanging out in a house on top of a hill, and the news came around that some big disaster happened. It was like a shooting or kind of just like the Nashville bombing or something. And the news came across, but it happened in a place that the abbreviation, or not the what is it? Acronym?
Yeah,
the letters
yeah,
that referred to the location of this disaster were CCNT.
Oh no.
Yes, it was like the news came up like shooting in CCNT.
Oh, yikes.
And I was like, oh no, this is a disaster. Something's happening. And I look out my window and all the power goes out for the whole city. I can like see down on the city. So it was kind of like this Black Swan event was happening. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. Oh my gosh, CCNT, that's going to be so great for our SEO.
Search engine
in my dream
optimization.
Yes, I was just like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to find our show because they're Googling this disaster.
Wow.
So I don't know. That was about it, but it was.
That's really finding the silver lining on a disastrous situation. Just real ego driven.
Always the optimist.
I know. Oh, that would be a great PR move if someplace that had the acronym CCNT had something go down.
You have the whole world Googling CCNT. The show might get a little bump in listeners there.
Yeah. Well, mine wasn't that exciting. My dream, it was stressful, but it had to do with my upbringing as a swimmer and swim meets, and so it's a lot less exciting. But yeah, what are you gonna do?
That's fun. As usual, folks, if you're inspired by Gonz's retelling of his stressful swim dream, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, bell, all. You know how it goes.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
That's right. Let's get those algorithms on our side for once.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. You want to do a Flippy update?
Flippy update. Do you want fries with that?
Okay, everybody. Before we get to all the exciting news of the inauguration, we want to do a little Flippy update. And if you're new to the show, let me learn you something. Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to discuss how robots and AI are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today, just a short little one. This is coming from Forbes.com. Kroger is testing a new smart cart that lets shoppers skip the checkout line. Kroger is experimenting with a high-tech grocery cart that lets shoppers scan items as they go and leave the store without waiting in a checkout line in its latest push to bring more automation into the stores. The nation's largest supermarket chain has introduced a line of Krogo shopping carts, which were developed by a New York City-based startup and Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree called Caper. At one of its stores in Cincinnati, shoppers who elect to use the cart are offered a 5% discount on Kroger-branded items. So that's basically the whole story. There's about 7 more paragraphs, but interesting developments in the plan to make all human beings, obsolete in the workforce. As we know, different retailers and grocery stores have been developing the self-checkout thing. But at this point, basically, your cart will be your cashier. So I think the biggest time we've seen these used, or the biggest use case, was the Amazon. What was it? It was like a convenience store. Amazon was trying to do a convenience store, and they piddled around with this cart idea. But Kroger, that's a pretty mainstream grocery store outlet, which will soon be entirely staffed by our robot overlords.
Let's just cut to the chase. We know what this is about. They want to track homeless people.
That's actually a very good point.
That steals carts, to live off of.
It's
so
kind
now-
of like the autonomous self-driving car for the pigeon lady who steals a cart.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Now for the homeless
There you
too. They could be connected.
The robots are truly bringing us into the utopia.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I
right.
got.
Cool. Well, let's real quick before we get into it. Somebody sent me this video, Basil. I don't know. I think this is you putting googly eyes on a billboard. I mean, this is really incriminating evidence. He's got a man bun, so that really gives it away.
Yes, we've been seeing more googly eyes show up around the country, and I did mention it last episode that, hey, grab some googly eyes and stick them around, your local hangouts there. This guy took that one step further and defaced this lovely woman trying to, I don't know, sell something. Yeah. But giant googly eyes that can be seen from the highway. Good job, friend. The Basil movement is continuing.
Yeah, it's like your brother from another mother.
Yeah.
Or something, or it's just you with it.
It's not me. It's
Okay.
not me.
All
You
right.
can't prove a thing, officer. Get a warrant.
We'll have to see about that. Cops come knocking on your door. Are you the googly-eyed man? No, sir. Then why are those googly eyes on your head? Okay, let's get into some politique.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politics.
Your blood.
That's right. Many bloodsuckers, folks. Let's see. Where do we start? Oh, I'll start with this picture. Nice, lighthearted moment here. And we all know, it was a star-studded inauguration. J-Lo, Lady Gaga, Keith Urban, a weird Bible. But really, the real star was the Space Force flag was presented with the flags of the rest of the military branches. And there you go. It's officially real.
We've started a new era.
Space Force was inaugurated.
Yeah. Well, I get the feeling, are these flags usually there, or is it just for the inauguration?
No, well, they brought these out just for the inauguration.
Okay.
This is where they sang. It was up there when they sang, the national anthem and stuff. So
one thing
surreal.
I was noticing, everybody's in masks, and you can see it in this picture for those of you watching. But all the people, the musicians, have the masks on, but the trumpet players, they got their mask pulled aside to play the trumpet. Aren't trumpets and any kind of wind instrument just giant super spreader instruments?
Yeah.
It's just like shooting corona into people's faces all over.
Well, it's funny to watch everybody shuffle around with taking masks off, putting masks on, and kind of the random nature of when those things would be followed. Because when somebody, especially people like the celebrities, J-Lo and Lady Gaga, they would come up to the podium, take off their mask, sing a song, which is illegal in California.
Right.
They're lucky they're not in California. And then they would walk back into the crowd without their mask and put their mask on when they're at their seat, which, everybody here knows how we feel about the science behind the masks, and, it is what it is. But for a group of people trying to be good examples, they slacked just a little bit.
And I noticed during the broadcast, there were a lot of noses sticking out, and people were trying to correct it, all the politicians and stuff everyone's wearing masks.
Look, they're human just like us.
Well, I know, but
mask.
I have some video and some audio clips to play in a moment here, but one of the things that I noticed also was that a lot of hugging and a lot of, just people acting normal, shaking hands, and the commentators for my example, CBS, I don't know if I actually clipped the exact moment, but she basically said, "Oh, a lot of hugging going on." Like very distraught about the whole situation.
Who is that? The announcer?
Yeah, like the commentator for CBS.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
They were bad commentators.
Oh, it was horrible. The whole thing was just
It's
unbearable.
Just the worst.
My gosh, I'm surprised people sit through it. But,
Me too.
yeah. So, all right, Space Force inauguration. Of course, the big story. I noticed it right away, and I tweeted it out right away. Is Gaga coming out, looking super Hunger Games? Like I thought I was watching a scene from the Hunger Games. She's wearing a red. I guess that's a dress, or what do you call that? The dress part is all fluffy red with a black top. I don't know what it's called. It's not a. And then she's got this giant
dress works. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's got a giant gold, what I guess it's a dove holding a.
That's what everybody was calling it, but it looks exactly like the Mockingjay pin.
Yeah. I mean, holding the arrow in in its mouth, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, very similar. I mean, it's pretty. I don't know. The whole thing was just ridiculous. Watching her walk out, and she's got the little red in her hair, and just the whole look was very. I mean, she's a great singer. I gotta hand it to her. She sounded great, but in terms of just the whole look and the appearance, come on, this is Hunger Games, and we're not the only people that noticed it. Everybody noticed it. Page6.com. Lady Gaga's inauguration outfit draws Hunger Games comparisons, and it says here, "Welcome to Panem." Lady Gaga made a major fashion statement at Joe Biden's inauguration on Wednesday, performing the national anthem in a, oh my gosh, how do I pronounce that? Schiaparelli haute couture outfit, comprised of a fitted navy jacket, voluminous red skirt. There you go. That's the way to say
voluminous
it.
Red
red skirt and a gold dove brooch to symbolize peace. But many on social media couldn't help but compare her dramatic look to those worn by Effie Trinket in the Hunger Games movies, and her bird brooch to a Mockingjay pin. And it just goes through some of the people mentioning it on Twitter and whatnot. But some people were saying, it's the dove with an olive branch, kind of like the days of Noah, trying to be like, we're finally finding peace and stuff. But even if it is a dove, I found this little thing in some blog. Dove, symbol of love, peace, reconciliation. The symbol of the dove has been around since the early Bronze Age. The dove was associated with the goddess Inanna Ishtar. Inanna Ishtar was the goddess of love, sexuality, and war. The temples of Ishtar contained lead dove figurines.
What a combo.
I know. One temple showed a dove rising from a palm tree, which is believed to be one of the physical incarnations of Ishtar, which makes sense why Hollywood is covered in palm trees. Later, the Greeks adopted the dove as a symbol. The Greek word for dove means bird of Ishtar. In Greece, doves were associated with the goddess Aphrodite, who is the goddess of love and beauty. The Roman goddesses Venus and Fortuna also were associated with doves. These goddesses are associated with love and luck. So you can always take that angle too, if you want to call it a dove, but also it looks like a rising phoenix.
Yeah.
And somebody.
I thought the funny thing. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say one more thing. Somebody on Twitter also on that thread at Tunaling, shared a image of a Masonic dove with an olive branch, and it's literally a Masonic pin, the square and compass, and inside is a dove with an olive branch in its mouth. So, not too far from the exact.
I had never seen that before, but
yeah.
She found it. The thing that was interesting about it, more than what it was and the symbolism and stuff like that, was just how humongous it was.
That's huge.
The thing's like a foot long, and you're obviously not only trying to present a symbol, but make it big enough that they can see it on tiny iPhone screens, because that's where everybody was streaming it.
That's true. Yeah,
very thought out.
Yeah, very true. So there you go. I mean, this is and the Hunger Games comparison is not like, just a comparison. It's like terrifying if there's any kind of reality to that, because it's like the Hunger Games is the dystopian fiction of, I don't know, the not younger generation necessarily, but certainly like people my age, maybe a little bit younger.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, well, and of course, we've been making Hunger Games references since the beginning of the pandemic.
Oh,
and of course, we've already got the, what are they called? Districts. The districts are all laid out.
Yep.
For those who are familiar with Hunger Games. You got your FEMA regions. So if you're, trying to figure out which Hunger Games district you're in, just look at the FEMA map.
Yeah, and one more quick thing here. Exemplar.com had phoenix and dove, the symbol of peace.
Ooh.
And it says it has to do with Scorpio, I guess, according to these folks here, the astrology folks. And it says, while most people consider a Scorpio to be a venomous creature, the true power of a Scorpio lies in healing and spreading peace. That is the ultimate way of exerting one's power. That is the reason this totem is symbolized by a dove. And also Scorpio is the only sign in the entire zodiac to have the power to burn and rise from its own ashes. Hence, every transformation in a Scorpio's life can be symbolized by a phoenix. So the combination of a phoenix and dove, not absent from astrology, folks, at least looking at totems and all kinds of symbols. So it doesn't even matter if it's, you can argue, is it a phoenix? Oh, no, it's a dove. It doesn't matter. It's both.
You know what? This would have been a great segment to make into a beast fashion segment.
Oh, you're right. Let me find my jingle.
Well, let me read this headline, and then you can give you some time to find it. Also, in the ways of beast fashion, on the NewYorkPost.com, we have a headline, "Why are so many women wearing purple at Biden's inauguration today?"
Why is the video that's on pause here from that article on the screen a cat sitting on like some kind of toilet thing? I don't know what happened to the story.
I don't know either, but I can start reading while we find the beast fashion jingle.
Or I can play it now. I think this is it. Let's try it.
Most modeling is kind of acting like a
beast,
but making it fashion.
Beast.
But then make it fashion.
There it is.
Yeah. All right. In a sea of red, white, and blue, there's a whole lot of purple. Vice President Kamala Harris, former First Lady Michelle Obama, and 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton donned purple, a color used traditionally as a symbol of bipartisanship, a mixture of Republican red and Democrat blue, for Inauguration Day. The color, Vanity Fair reported, also has historically symbolized nobility and was a color favored by the suffragettes, in addition to white. Oh, suffragettes.
Wow. That was a good one.
I don't think I've ever read the word suffragettes before. There's a lot of consonants in there.
A typo by Basil.
Suffragettes. The color was chosen by suffragettes in 1908, according to the National Park Service, to represent, quote, the royal blood that flows in the veins of every suffragette, the instinct of freedom and dignity. Harris, 56. Harris is 56? Wow. Yeah. I did not know that.
Remember there was I don't know, maybe a year ago, maybe less than a year ago, there was that video of her that looked like she got a facelift. Her eyes were all like...
Yes. Yeah,
I think she knew that she was gonna.
Yeah, well, she probably did.
Vice president.
Harris, 56, chose a black designer, Christopher or John Rogers, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for her Inauguration Day outfit. The designer previously dressed Beyonce. Okay, is this all? Yep, the rest is all about fashion stuff. So, we've seen this before, if you remember, on Hillary's failed victory party. Yeah. She had her big giant purple, what was it? It was like a power suit with a lot of purple on it. And I think we might have this purple discussion maybe about once every 2 years.
Yeah, that's true.
So do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, so on the screen for those watching, you got Harris in her purple with even the purple gloves too, like the whole deal. Which,
I don't know if Michelle Obama's counts as purple, but I guess in this photo, it's more of a what's the word? It's not maroon.
Yeah, it is kind of maroon.
Burgundy.
Burgundy, yeah, okay.
Or burgundy.
Yeah, she didn't get the memo, or the color designer for her thing was
colorblind.
And then there's, of course, Hillary wearing the same colored purple with the frillies under her neck. Looks like she's got a big purple beard, you know?
Yeah, beautiful.
What I found was that purple represents royalty, mysticism, and the supernatural. But better than that, I think Titus Frost, I also have the picture of the Joker from Batman, you know, the 90s Batman.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite movies when I was growing up. That 90s version of Batman with the Joker, you know.
It's too creepy.
It is a little creepy, but where's my Titus Frost post where he gave me a screenshot of, here it is, Tyrian purple, also known as Phoenician red, Phoenician purple, royal purple, imperial purple, or imperial dye is a reddish purple natural dye. The name Tyrian refers to Tyre, Lebanon, like the kings of Tyre, you know, with Lucifer, Isaiah, the book of Isaiah. It is a secretion, produced by several species of predatory sea snails in the family Miracidae.
Predatory sea snails.
Yeah. Rock snails, originally known as the name murex. In ancient times, extracting this dye involved tens of thousands of snails and substantial labor, and as a result, the dye was highly valued. The main chemical is 6,6-dibromoindigo.
What?
Dibromoindigo. That's the name of the chemical there. The main chemical that makes it purple.
2 6s though.
Yeah, 6,6.
Maybe Dubromoingingo means 6 in.
Maybe that's the order 66.
The time has come. Execute order 66.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So there's been plenty of, there's been a lot of breakdowns over the years of specifically wearing purple, I think made popular by Hillary Clinton in the most modern of times. And, maybe it could be a symbol of unity. It could be a symbol of, royal descent, or it could be a symbol of whatever. And the thing is, it could be all of them as well. So I see some bickering going on in the chat. Don't worry, guys. It's okay. We're going to make it through this.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be one particular thing over another. We don't have to argue about it. The point being that they all agreed to do it, and there's never not meaning behind it for occultists and the people that really run stuff. They know what they're doing. They're virtue signaling to their own, or trying to invoke certain spiritual powers, and that's really what's taking place here, regardless of what the New York Post wants to tell us.
It's all a ritual, and they are on the steps of the sacred temple of democracy.
Right. So, not surprising, but it was one of the first things that really jumped out at me when I was watching. I'm like, oh, there you go. A lot of purple, and just very blatant too for Kamala Harris. It wasn't even like, oh, little mix in here and there. Nope, purple gloves, purple jacket, like the whole thing was purple.
Yeah.
And just showing herself to be part of
purple.
The whole thing, complicit to the whole deal. Yeah, purple. She's purple. This image I'm looking at here that has Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, and Michelle Obama all kind of in a row. I didn't realize that Hillary Clinton's jacket was kind of maroon, kind of like a dark maroon, burgundy, reddish.
Okay.
I couldn't tell. I thought it was like a black jacket that she was wearing, but I guess it had a little color to it.
Yeah,
who knows? This is all
around with the colors
photoshopped.
too.
Yeah.
Did you? Speaking of beast fashion, did you see? What's his face? Bernie Sanders.
I did not, but I heard that he made a fashion statement during the whole deal. Let me pull it up here.
Yeah, I saw one tweet that was Bernie dressed as if the inauguration was on his to-do list for the day, but wasn't his whole day.
Okay,
he just had like a very casual jacket on. He didn't really dress up at all.
He looks cold. He's got huge mittens on.
He's cold. It's cold out there in the shadows.
His forehead looks cold.
Cozy and casual. Bernie Sanders makes a fashion statement.
He should get a beanie. The Beanie Sanders.
Okay, we have got to stop talking about people's clothes. I've had just about enough I can say about
Beast fashion, bro. Come on.
I know.
We're talking beast fashion here. Okay, so
we need to look at their fashionable new cyborg wearables. That would be much more interesting.
It would be. Yeah, the closest thing, I guess, is Lady Gaga and her get-up. But, did you sit through Biden's speech, which was 21 minutes long?
I did, and it felt like it was 21 days long.
He did fairly well in terms of not messing anything up. I think he flubbed one word or like one sentence.
I was surprised. Yeah, he did pretty good. I only heard one little flub as well.
Yeah, and it wasn't worth
it. He practiced this one.
Yeah, he had some time. But this was interesting. This was actually from Fox News, and this is via MSN on our end because MSN repackages stuff behind paywalls for us. I don't know that Fox is behind a paywall, but regardless, Fox News anchor Chris Wallace calls Biden's inauguration speech best he's ever heard. Way to pander.
I think he means it's the best he's ever heard Biden say that many words in a row.
Maybe. Fox News anchor Chris Wallace shared some high praise for President Joe Biden's inaugural address to the American people on Wednesday, calling it the best he's ever heard. I thought it was a great speech, Wallace said during a Fox News segment shortly after Biden was sworn in and delivered the address. Quote, I've been listening to these inaugural addresses since 1961. John F. Kennedy, ask not. I thought this was the best inaugural address I ever heard. So, no, not just of Biden. He's saying of all the inaugural speeches.
Wow.
Wallace describes Biden's speech as like a sermon and a pep talk combined together. It was a call to our better angels.
Yeah, that was a weird part. I did write that down.
Yeah.
We talked about our better angels.
Like angel investors or fallen angels.
Angel investors.
It's one or the other.
One thing I did notice about Biden's speech, and this was something that actually Trump got a lot of praise for, and a big reason why, just for a lot of his, entire life in political office, keeping the vocabulary simple,
Right.
A lot of times with political speeches, especially presidential addresses, it's very frilly, use a lot of big words, and because of course, this historical moment, I gotta have a cool speech. But Biden's writers on this one kept it fairly simple, not a whole lot of big words, a lot of repetition, unity, of course. He said unity like 47 times.
Which I got something to say on the unity front there.
Well, it is pretty ironic, but what do you got?
Yeah, so basically unity was the big key word there, and that's really the doublespeak there. Unity coming from Biden is really a doublespeak for consolidation under one party rule. It's not unity.
Peace through victory.
Right. It's not
the old Romans saying peace through victory, meaning we will destroy you and then there will be peace.
Right. So all this unity talk sounds good, but given what we know about politicians and what they say, it's pretty much and my whole summary of the speech was, go back to sleep, America. Just go back to sleep.
Yeah, business as usual.
Business as usual. What I got we're picking up where we left off before Orange Man came in. It almost works to their favor. Like, oh, look how bad things can get with, Orange Man or some random Republican conservative. Right. We need to get back on track here. That's kind of what it sounded like to me, to the American people. Like, well, just go back to sleep and take care of our new world order. The other thing I noticed, by the way, when you know how everybody walks down the steps and they they get presented and they walk out onto the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
Every time there was a couple, whether it be Bush Jr. and his wife, Obama and Michelle, or just anybody, if you're facing the stage, the man was on the left and the wife or the woman was on the right. But did you notice when Biden came out, Jill was on the left and Biden was on the right? I don't know if that means
did not
anything.
notice that.
But Biden
Yes.
walked out in where all the women were walking, like the side where the women walk out. So I don't know if that means anything, but it was just something I noticed.
Oh, Gonz, be careful. Don't start this again.
Start what?
I don't know.
Just start saying things that get us in trouble?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it has to do, is he left-handed or right-handed?
I don't think
or
so. I don't know. I thought he
something
was
like that?
right-handed.
Huh.
Obama was left-handed, wasn't he?
I have no idea. Did not pay attention.
I'm pretty sure he was. That was one big thing that a lot of the Bible prophecy folk would mention. He's left-handed. He's a left-hand path. He's
Okay.
he's the goats.
Okay. Oh, these poor left-handers. They've been persecuted long enough.
I know. It's slowly changing, though. The other thing with Biden was the Bible that he put his hand on to swear into office.
That thing looked pretty crazy. When it first came out, there was one particular camera angle of it, and I was like, what is this grimoire that he's swearing on? That thing is nuts. It's got like two giant, I mean, first of all, the thing is about a foot high and old as, I don't know, maybe as old as he is. When was he born? 1780 or something like that?
1780.
So it was an old Bible and it had two giant metal clasps holding it together. It reminded me of like a grimoire in, what's that movie? Hocus Pocus or something, where, you got to lock the grimoire shut or else the spirits will escape.
Yeah, so it's called the Rhymes Douay. Is that how you say it? Rhymes Douay?
I think Dewey.
Dewey?
Rhymes Dewey. Dewey Rhymes.
Dewey Rhymes? Well, whatever. Well, that's the Bible. And allegedly, it's the Catholic Bible that was translated from the Latin Vulgate before the King James. And according to Hunt, I don't know which was it. I think he was a Christian author. I don't remember his.
Dewey Reams, I believe.
Okay, I should have done a little bit more note taking before this broadcast here, but he basically said that this is like a Jesuit version of the Bible.
Who said this?
He's a Christian author. He wrote, maybe someone in the chat remembers. He passed away a few years ago.
I was looking at a thread, and it seemed to be a bunch of Catholics speaking on this thread, or posting on this thread, rather. And they didn't seem too happy about it. The Catholics weren't very impressed.
Well, let's see here. So I think so according to Hunt, flushed with their glorious victory over the Jesuit Bible of 1582 and over the Spanish Armada of 1588, English Protestantism, they have to the world what has been considered by a host of scholars the greatest version ever produced in any language.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is their
pretty high praise.
Yeah, this is their super Bible, I guess.
Yeah, it includes, let's see here. Now I'm just on the Wikipedia. The first volume covering Genesis through Job was published 1609. The second covering Psalms to 2nd Maccabees, plus the 3 Apocrypha books of the Vulgate Appendix following the Old Testament, was published in 1610. Okay, so, but apparently that particular Bible was, the one he's actually swearing on was an old one. It was like from the 1800s or something.
Yeah, I think so. Dave Hunt is the man.
The
I
actual
think being
print
quoted.
that he has there.
Yeah. Dave Hunt is, I believe, the man who was quoted there because he's written against the Catholic Church for most of his writing career.
Yes, I've just found on Catholic.com uncomfortable facts about the Dewey Reams.
Yeah, I saw that too. I noticed that link, but I'm trying to find the Vulgate criticisms there. Some people probably have done more in terms of really, digging this up. But I mean, basically, Catholic Church Bible. I read some criticisms of certain things that are translated in certain ways. But again, it's from the Vulgate, and yeah, there you go. It did look like a grimoire. It did look like some kind of.
Here we go. Free of Protestant bias. While translator bias is a fact to be contended with, Dewey Reams onlyists often accuse contemporary translations of being tainted by Protestant translations. Ooh, so it's like the Catholic purist version.
Right. Yeah. So again, before the King James. But all right, well, there you go. There was a lot of, as expected, a lot of invoking God. There was like a Methodist pastor up there praying and calling upon the Holy Spirit and things like that. And the church, at least in America, has been very politicized in the last 4 years. I mean, even before that. But man, it really bothers me that politics drives the narrative of faith in this country, because it really, those things should be secondary conversations to, like Lecrae. Do you know Lecrae, the rapper?
Yes.
He's supposed to be a Christian rapper. He came out and tweeted out like, "Oh, it's good to be on the right side of history." And he expanded upon that, saying like, by right side of history, I mean anti-white Christian nationalism, and, just listed off a whole bunch of political issues. And my whole thing was like, the right side of history is Jesus Christ, like that's the right side of history. All other things are sort of peripheral to that. And we can argue about how, what Jesus would have done politically in these topics or whatever. But to suggest that, your side is the right side of history is pretty, I don't know. It just drives more division in my opinion.
Well, it's always, the funny thing about that is it's always sort of decided after the fact. Right.
It's never during.
It's hard to make that claim until after the guy is sworn in and everything's fine. We'll see how things turn out.
People don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
So,
okay.
Just to continue on here and getting a little bit more on the fringe in terms of my commentary on what might be going down, I found this very interesting. CBC News Network. So this was live, and notice what this reporter says. Think weather modification.
Hi, Adrian. A little hard to hear you, so forgive me. But yes, the sun did come out during the oaths. I'm not kidding. It rose out of the clouds, and now it's quite clear here. Joe Biden's speech was exactly what this president and his team needed to say to Americans today.
Yeah, the sun came out during the oaths. Very good timing there for
so you think they launched a little sunshine beam up into the sky to open the clouds for his speech?
I think somebody punched into the weather computer, cloud simulation. Move clouds, or it was all a hologram, as some people believe.
Put the sun in his eyes while he's trying to read the teleprompter.
Make him look glorious. Okay, so here's the other clip that I have. This one's 49 seconds. And by the way, for those of you watching, you're going to see Gaga, mingling with Obama, and they're hugging and they're touching each other. There's no social distancing going on here.
Yes.
But also the virtue signaling is tremendous, because part of what I think might have gone down here, and this is just a theory, it's kind of a reverse psyop. Because remember, a week ago, the whole conversation in terms of the conservative side of the aisle was, don't go to the inauguration. It's a trap. They're trying to, they're going to pull off a false flag and they're going to blame conservative right wingers, Maybe that was the trap, to get all these people thinking that they're going to pull off something. And so nobody comes to actually protest the inauguration. Because it was pretty clean.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Oh, yeah. The old switcheroo.
Switcheroo, right? Because now they're telling everybody, they're going to frame us, and then nothing happens. So keeping that in mind, okay, where did people gather to watch? The locals there.
Some of the lovely niceties of inaugural moments just won't be happening. There isn't going to be that lunch, that congressional lunch that happens. That's always sort of a moment of relaxing. But this is the world now. Now, also absolutely no sense of how that went down with Americans, because we didn't really hear a lot of crowds. It's interesting to hear what political pundits think, but this is really up to the American people now. And so good old Thomas Dagla, who is in Washington, has managed to find the one place where people have been able to stand and gather and watch. That's at Black Lives Matter Plaza just outside the White House. Thomas.
Black Lives Matter Plaza outside the White House. Only spot where people can come together and view the inauguration. I don't know if there's any more virtue signaling happening than that, but...
Yeah. Well, what was it named before? Lafayette Square?
Yeah, something like that. I think so, yeah. So, very interesting. And then also the depressing commentary. This is our world now.
Yeah, she's very sad.
She was the same one that was complaining that people are hugging and stuff. And you can see on the footage there, the people, Obama's got his hand on Lady Gaga's back, talking very close. And then there's Bill Clinton talking to the little poet girl that read her poem. So anyway, go on.
Wow, little poet girl.
I forget her name. I'm sorry.
Poet laureate of the United States of America. Gonz, have some respect.
Sorry, I forgot her name.
I'm right now looking for some inauguration protests here. I could not see anything. I was assuming that if there was going to be some big hullabaloo, that it would just start popping up on my Twitter, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Let me do a new search, see if anything. Nope. Not seeing anything. Yeah, it was, I don't know about you, Gonz, but I definitely tuned in with a sense of, I don't know. I didn't really expect anything to happen, but I was like, well, all the Q people have been saying something big's going to happen here. We've heard a lot of theories, and today's the day. I don't know if something's going to happen. Now's it's time to happen. And then nothing. And as we've been following over the past couple weeks, there were a lot of big theories. And should we check in with some of those theories?
Yeah, let's do it.
Psyops.
Psyop was strong on the this front here.
The psyop is strong with this one. So first of all, I think we should check in with our good pal Simon Parkes.
Yeah, Simon Parkes was not only did he get 3-4 million views on his YouTube channel, but he had 250,000 views on BitChute. He's like taking over BitChute now. And here's what he said the night before. I think it was the day before. Yeah, the 19th of January. Here's what he said would go down at the inauguration.
Told that Biden and his family are making their way today to the Capitol. But I don't discount the possibility that a fake inauguration has already been recorded in some studio with trick photography, CGI, and that's what the mainstream media may show. So that actually is, I think, is a very real possibility. I've said it, a number of times before that there's a recording done, made a number of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, ready to roll to show to the world. I might be wrong in the sense that
maybe
they may turn up. They may be so confident that they're not at all worried, and they may turn up and do it. But I think that the bad guys have an idea. I don't think they can be so stupid as to not understand what's about to happen. But maybe if the piece of cheese on the trap is big enough, then you still go for the cheese even though it's a trap. So
the cheese.
Better, bigger, tastier.
Claims of a deep fake inauguration by Simon Park. What do you think, Gonz? Was that a deep fake?
Did not appear to me, at least on first viewing. Hard to tell because it was on an iPhone that I was watching. So I guess my eyes could deceive me, but I didn't see anything in the immediate broadcasts that would suggest some kind of deep fake.
I don't think so. I don't believe that was a deep fake. And, it's kind of incredible. And I don't know. I have mixed feelings because it's gotten to a weird degree. I mean, it's one thing to be throwing out theories and, trying to decipher Q posts and really trying to make things fit and finding connections. Maybe there are, maybe there aren't. I don't know. There's certainly the Q stuff was compelling enough for people to keep following it and earnestly promoting it for 4 years. But it is pretty incredible to get to the point where, the thing that will save your Q theory is that there is a deep fake shot in a studio inauguration. Because, well, Hillary Clinton's in jail, Obama's in jail. Half those people were supposed to be in jail, apparently. Well, and now they're all standing up there during the inauguration.
It does help that everyone's wearing masks. That whole narrative can be very easily be believed by more gullible folks because, they're all wearing masks. Why? A pandemic. Why? No, not a pandemic. It's because it's their clones or it's their whatever doppelgangers, So,
I found I sent you a little screenshot there that was floating around from some Q message boards. If you want to put that up, let me see if I can jump over there.
Yeah, it's got Hannah Holmes saying, "Well, I'm the official laughing stock of my family now. Awesome." The next person says, "This is an embarrassment." And then next one, "Here come all excuses now." And then somebody said,
and then a white knight of Q comes in and says, "Q also said noon. I will start kicking people for their attitudes. We are patriots. You stand here and hold the line with us, or you can leave, your choice."
Oh, jeez.
And then the next person is, "OMG, none of this was real." So this was the last moment for the Q stuff, and not a lot has come through. Now, who knows? There could be some stuff happening secretly in the background, and maybe the inauguration was a deep fake. But I don't know. I from what I know about hardcore Q folk, I don't think things are going to slow down. I kind of
it's going to start spinning way out of control.
It's going to keep going, isn't it? The LARP is not going to end.
No, it's not. But one thing that maybe Simon Parks should do is fix his whole situation there, because in all of his videos, he's in his office, I think. But it's a mess, first off. You got like paper scattered in the background and just, stuff, cabinet files and stuff. If you're going to be like labeled by the eyes of the mainstream as some kind of psycho guy in mom's basement, have too much time on their hands type of guy, that's exactly what you would show in the background, is just stuff everywhere, bookshelf, maroon curtains. But just get a green screen, guy. Get a green screen. Okay. Help your presentation out or something.
Sure,
I don't know.
Yeah, somebody help Simon with a green screen there.
But also, Simon Parks isn't the only guy. We got Simon Parks.
Liar.
We have Lynn Wood.
Liar.
We have Steve Pachiznik.
Liar.
I mean, all these guys. I tweeted out a question: is the right-wing conservative psyop to frame, not frame, but just discredit the whole right-wing conservative thing, is it complete, or at least a certain level of it complete with today? And I feel like they've done it in a certain way, like to a certain degree. Of course, the psyop will continue and evolve and change, and some new narrative will come out or whatever. But as far as Trump taking office for 4 more years, I mean, completely discredited. And it's even worse with all those prophets that came out. Did you see those videos of Christian,
oh my gosh, I've been watching those prophets for years here. Yeah. Since the first year of the Trump presidency, there's been prophets quoting about how he's going to have a second term. No matter what, it's going to happen. He's God's man. And a lot of them are having to eat their hat today.
Liar!
And based on the standard for what is a prophet in the Bible, I mean, they've totally just been, they've discredited themselves and have exposed themselves as false prophets, which is really, I don't like it, but it's the truth.
Now, I think I want to go into something real quick, and I did not give you a link for it, so I apologize, but we did talk about it the other day, and I just want to do it real quick because I'm still in the midst of trying to fully get the lowdown on it, but this has been floating around for a while, and this is the Operation Trust thing.
Okay.
So I just want to take a second. I'm currently trying to get some hard copy books that aren't specifically written by conspiracy theory people to try to get the lowdown, but I'll just come straight from Wikipedia, which is the easiest source that other people can confirm what I'm saying. Now, I saw it floating around a couple days, and it is the comparison between Q. And now that we have sort of 4 years of hindsight on Q, we can kind of try to look into it a little deeper. But it was a comparison of Q to something called Operation Trust. And I'm just going to start by reading the Wikipedia here, and then I'll summarize when I need to summarize. Operation Trust was a counterintelligence operation of the State Political Directorate of the Soviet Union. The operation, which was set up by the GPU's GPU is the Russian acronym for the State Political Directorate, which was set up by GPU's predecessor Cheka, ran from 1921 to 1926, set up a fake anti-Bolshevik resistance organization, Monarchist Union of Central Russia, MUCR, in order to help the OGPU identify real monarchists and anti-Bolsheviks. The created front company was called the Moscow Municipal Credit Association. The head of the MUCR was Alexander Yukashev, a former bureaucrat of the Ministry of Communications of Imperial Russia, who after the Russian Revolution joined the Narkomat, or the external trade thing. And they have all this in Russian too, but just so I don't have to butcher that every time. When the Soviets began to allow the former specialists to resume the positions of their expertise, this position allowed him to travel abroad and contact Russian immigrants. So basically what it is was in 1921, the Bolsheviks kind of started an anti-Bolshevik movement in Russia in order to empower and identify people who were against the current leadership,
right.
Which and it was led by a former politician person, which kind of harkens in the Q community to like, oh gosh, what's the general who was it? General Flynn, who was
General Flynn was getting
pushing out a lot of it.
Well, he was getting cred as being maybe Q. A few others.
And it was really when General Flynn and a lot of these, ex-government and military people started quote unquote verifying Q, is when it really started hitting its big
momentum.
I don't know, mainstream momentum. Yeah. And that's when it started getting on the news and stuff. And so I don't know. I'm currently going down a line of non-Wikipedia research, non-website research, just trying to find some history books that might have more on it. But it seems as though when you talk about Q as a PSYOP operation, it does harken back to something that, the Soviets did back in the 1920s, which was create a fake movement against the Bolsheviks in order to, be able to identify those who might pose a resistance. And that's always, that kind of connects with the theme, not just of the Q PSYOP, but with Parler and with, a lot of these quote unquote, conservative or right or far right or whatever they want to call it, places to identify yourself. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that the Biden administration really will turn into sort of a Soviet Russia style thing, but we've been seeing a lot of calls from, leading thought leaders on the left for, doxing Trump supporters and making them lose their careers and making lists of people who helped Trump and, all this sort of stuff. And it really fits into this Operation Trust thing that happened in Russia in the 1920s. And of course, people have been making the connection between Operation Trust and Trust the Plan.
Right. The picture of the book, there's a couple pages that have been highlighted that was making the rounds on social media. And that book is from New Lies of Old, The Communist Strategy of Deception and Disinformation by Anatoly Golitsyn. And Larry, written forward by Larry Abraham. So, it's from 1990, so it's not like it's a recent thing.
No. I mean, this is info that's been around, and what I'm trying to do is find some other outlets as well. Just because one guy wrote a book about it, you got to find some other sources as well.
Guy wrote a book. It's true. It's in print.
But it's difficult because apparently this guy might have been the only guy with access to the files, which are very carefully hidden in Russia in its own special little, vault type thing. So I don't know. I don't want to make any big claims right now, but that is floating around. And some of the similarities between Q and this Operation Trust thing, they're a little bit worrisome, and they do fit into the, if nothing else, the common discernment that came around with Q was that it was a psyop.
There's a guy named Joshua Abraham in the chat saying that's his dad's book. Larry Abraham is your father, for real? I don't know.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's not. If it is, give us a heads up. Send us an email to canarycryradio@protonmail.com and tell us more.
Yeah. I mean, the Q, I do feel bad for people. I because there is an element of like, I try to tell you for sure, but here's the jingle.
I tried to tell you.
I have that feeling a lot, but I had friends and not so much family, but I had friends again contact me and say like, man, I'm really upset about the whole thing and nothing happened and all this. And it's like, that was part of the whole idea. That's the psyop.
That's what it's for. Right.
And if that's not enough, on Twitter this morning, #NotMyPresident was trending, and the entire timeline of people that were sending out that hashtag was a lot of like leftists saying like, all the Trump supporter conservatives sending #NotMyPresident, maybe you should leave the country, and just throwing it back from 4 years ago when #NotMyPresident was trending because Trump wasn't their president and they're making a big virtue signaling thing. Now it's all flipped around. And if you're not seeing the right-left paradigm completely at play by that hashtag going viral, quote unquote viral, right? Because Twitter kind of controls which hashtags go viral. Then I don't know. There's not a whole lot of hope for you. You're stuck in one side of the wing or the other, because now that it's flipped around, it's very obvious that was going to happen at some point, whether it's now or whether it's would have been 4 years from now, after Trump left. You knew that was going to happen on social media. This like flipperoo, and it's very sports like, like sports people that do sports Twitter do that often, like, oh, my team beat your team. And then like a year later, oh, where are you now? My team beat your team, and blah, 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 that whole deal. So it's just being sucked into this right-left paradigm. And I feel like the narrow path is getting narrower and narrower, and wide is the path to destruction. So, we'll get back to Biden in a minute here, but I do want to cover a couple things that Trump did before he left. The first thing he did, the big pardon list. This is usatoday.com. Who did Trump pardon? Here's the full list of 143 people who received last-minute clemency. And there's a real there's a picture of a real shaggy picture of what's his name? I'm totally blanking on his name here. I'm looking at him. Steve, blah, blah, blah. Who's the guy that was Steve Bannon? Thank you, Steve Bannon. Looking pretty disheveled, but he was one of the guys that was pardoned.
Yeah.
And I didn't go through details of everything, but there were a lot of like bank fraud people, insurance fraud people.
Was Assange or Snowden on the list?
No.
No,
Assange
just a
and Snowden
bunch
were
of
not on the list.
fraudsters and banksters, and I think there was a literal bank robber on there.
There was. There was a bank robber. And then there were a couple guys that had planned bank robberies, which was kind of okay. But yeah, there was no drain the swamp. It was more like, unleash the crocs into the wild.
Let the crocodiles out of the cage.
Yeah, so there was a guy with securities fraud. So, I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of bizarre. But I think the one that grabbed my attention the most is well, there was one guy who was a Israeli spy who spied on Americans. And that really got the anti-Zionist folk really riled up that, that Trump would pardon a man who spied on Americans from Israel. But the other one that really grabbed my attention was Anthony Lewandowski.
Oh, yeah.
And it says here, President Trump granted a full pardon to Anthony Lewandowski. This pardon is strongly supported by James Ramsey, Peter Thiel, the guy who co-founded PayPal, Miles Ulrich, Amy Craig, Michael Ovitz, Palmer Luckey, Ryan Peterson, Ken Gold, just a bunch of names. And if you don't know, Mr. Lewandowski is an American entrepreneur who led Google's efforts to create self-driving technology. Mr. Lewandowski pled guilty to a single criminal count arising from civil litigation. Notably, his sentencing judge called him a, quote, brilliant, groundbreaking engineer that our country needs. Mr. Lewandowski has paid a significant price for his actions and plans to devote his talents to advance the public good. The public good, they say he's going to advance, which is code for AI. Because if we go back to November 15th, 2017, Wired.com published this article, Inside the First Church of Artificial Intelligence. We covered this, Basil, on Canary Cry News Talk when this story came out. I mean, a lot of people did, but this is the guy who started the AI church.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to need him for the one world religion.
Yeah, it says here in the 2017 article, Anthony Lewandowski makes an unlikely profit. Dressed Silicon Valley casual in jeans and flanked by a PR rep rather than cloaked acolytes, the engineer known for self-driving cars and triggering a notorious lawsuit could be unveiling his latest startup instead of laying the foundations for a new religion. But he is doing just that. Artificial intelligence has already inspired billion-dollar companies' far-reaching research programs and scenarios of both transcendence and doom. Now, Lewandowski is creating its first church. The new religion of artificial intelligence is called Way of the Future. It represents an unlikely next act for the Silicon Valley robotics wunderkind at the center of Wunderkind. At the center of a high-stakes legal battle between Uber and Waymo, Alphabet's autonomous vehicle company. So yeah, Lewandowski, let's see, it says here, he's considered the dean or the leader of the new religion, as well as CEO of the nonprofit corporation formed to run it. So okay, here it is. The document states that they will focus on, quote, the realization, acceptance, and worship of a godhead based on artificial intelligence, AI, developed through computer hardware and software.
Artificial intelligence.
Do you think he must be getting involved in the, what is it called? The Federal Artificial Intelligence Agency or whatever?
Oh, yeah. They must.
Office of, what is it called? Shoot,
yeah,
I forgot.
the Office
We did a
of
whole
National,
piece on it.
Yeah, it's not a very good acronym, but it was like the National American
Another
AI.
noodle in the alphabet soup.
Yeah, the one with the eagle being trapped inside of a web of nodes. in the shape of a esoteric geometry or whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is the guy that was pardoned by Trump, and maybe we're going to see even more AI moving forward, and an AI religion, a spiritual movement with AI, because Trump needs it.
Which it's an interesting, and it's interesting for a couple reasons. A, they list every person who supported his commutation, which is kind of just an interesting. I don't know. It gives some insight into who he is and who wanted him free.
Right.
But the fact, again, it's just a weird connection between Trump's last actions in office and setting up the future. I mean, it's his own participation in the future of whatever, the world looks like as a result of Lewandowski being, set free. So I don't know, you look big picture. There's a lot of talk about Trump, in a lot of different ways. Some people think he's God's favorite person. Other people think, he was just another president. But either way, this is a very key role in a possible, rising of the AI religion, and which is, of course, part of the scientism and New World Order current theories of what the near future might look like. So either way, Trump played a little bit of a role in that.
I think it might play a role in this.
We will launch a new age.
Because part of the other story that I have here for Trump, the Wall Street Journal, Trump has discussed starting a new political party.
Ooh.
You hear about the new political party?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm doing something on our doc, so you tell me about it.
Okay, so it says here, hold on. Made it a little too big there. President Trump has talked in recent days with associates about forming a new political party, according to people familiar with the matter, an effort to exert continued influence after he leaves the White House. I don't know if you remember last episode, Basil, but I said there were smatterings of Trump starting a new political party, and that we will have a new political party by the end of this decade. That it won't be just
party.
No, I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be more of like a constitutional party. But according to the article, Mr. Trump discussed the matter with several aides and other people close to him last week. The people said, the president said he would want to call the new party the Patriot Party. Mr. Trump has feuded in recent days with several Republican leaders, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, he ran into some trouble with the rhinos, and he didn't get the full support of Republicans, which is, on the surface level, if you're going to look at politics from that shallow end of the pool, then sure, some Republicans turning on Trump probably didn't help his campaign to get reelected. But now, as a result, he wants to start his new party, and having the AI religion behind it, and that's great. It would be great to have Lewandowski and the new political or the government arm. He can really run it. And I know a guy who's got great AI, great brain, and just have him be the guy to really influence the AI branch of government with his Patriot Party.
Yeah. Do you remember, this was, back at the beginning of 2020 when the election was really ramping up, and people within the Trump campaign were talking about this big new technological masterpiece that they had that would allow them to, communicate and win the election.
So
did we ever figure out what that was?
No, because the guy that said that on tape was arrested, I think, right, for domestic abuse.
Yeah. Oh, we played the video.
We played the video of the guy that he came out, he was drinking a beer, he's a shirtless guy, and then all of a sudden the cops show up and he's talking to him and he gets tackled.
Full on tackle him. Yeah,
it's like a football tackle. Yeah, that was the guy. So
we never saw what that was.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those issues where, I've said this for a long time, but if you're going to move up the political ladder, it's just difficult because they're either trying to use you to get ahead themselves, or they're gonna nobody's trustworthy.
It's much easier to get chewed up and spat out than to actually benefit from that system. Yeah. It's kind of like the media. It's kind of like Hollywood or even mainstream news. If you're trying to get ahead in there, it's more likely you're going to get chewed up and spat out than actually benefit long term.
Yeah, and I have some family friends who, again, I've mentioned this before, they were running for local government here in Southern California, or trying to, and they just pulled out. Like before the midterm thing, and
it's just too much.
She was just like, just not going to compromise my integrity to try to get elected, and so that's kind of how it is, and it's unfortunate, but hey, that's who rules this world. It certainly, God ultimately has control, but in terms of its politics and stuff, it's not really as wholesome as people would like to think, and I think that's why Trump even won. He appealed to a lot of the Americans who are more wholesome in their view of reality. But again, even Trump was surrounded by people. Even at the best,
it's a rough system. It's
a rough
system.
An
establishment is the
thing. It is. And some people will throw Trump under the bus and say he was part of it. And yeah, he came out of it. He was a part of it.
At least got used by it.
He got used by it. He thought he was going to do some good, and maybe he did do some good, but ultimately the elite are not going to waste an opportunity to encroach on people's freedoms and to take the reins of control of society. And Trump was actually great for that. He was great for the elite establishment to garner more and more division in this country, and to bring back more or gain more power as the New World Order has been trying to do for a long time. So it's almost like waking up the sleeping giant,
I Fight Sin over on Twitch is made a fun recommendation for Trump's party called the Pale Horse Party.
Oh,
it's got a good ring to it.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay, so enough about Trump for a second. Let's talk about the new guy, Biden.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
We live in a world. He's hairy legs is in office.
This is coming from Axios.com, and it's regarding, let's just get into it. The headline is Wall Street Power Shift.
Yeah, I think something happened there, because I don't think that was
what happened to this.
That was not the main headline that I was.
Oh, no, here we go. So this is, they turned it into a gallery.
Yeah, and it's not fully loading either.
No,
come on,
not.
Axios.
Okay, hold on. Let me scoot around on this gallery. Sorry, everybody.
I'm trying too. It's not really.
Gallery. The New Washington is what they're calling it.
Okay.
But let's head over to slide number 4. Unless you had other slides.
I was looking for the economic policy that he had.
That's number 4, I believe. Come on, Wall Street Power Shift. Is this the one?
Maybe.
Power will move from Wall Street to Washington over the next 4 years. That's the message being sent by President-elect Biden. Oh, this must have. Yes, this came out a few days ago, with the expected nomination of Wall Street foe Gary Gensler to head the Securities and Exchange Commission, and by Senator Sherrod Brown, incoming head of the Senate Banking Committee. Why it matters: Biden is charting an economic policy that's visibly to the left of Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. If he succeeds, it's going to show up not only in taxes and spending, but also in regulation. Who to watch? Biden is being pulled to the left on economic policy, not by the Democratic Party, but also by economic orthodoxy.
Yeah, keep going. It's the next little section there that brought my attention to this article. So go ahead.
led by incoming Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, the economic policy team has signaled that it will be the first administration ever to construct economic policy around issues like race, gender equality, and climate change, rather than around traditional indicators like gross domestic product or deficit ratios. Gensler has a skepticism of Wall Street learned the hard way in the halls of Goldman Sachs. He won't be snowed by bankers trying to tell him that they know better than he does. So it seems like a big shakeup for the current Wall Street system.
Yeah, but remember we covered part of the Great Reset and the stakeholders' capitalism, and what they would be basing their new metrics for capitalism, not bottom line profit, but gender equality, race, and climate change. That's exactly
the new metrics, that's the interesting point, because we saw, it's something we saw with the pandemic thing too, was changing the metrics of measurement and measurement of success. One just very simple example being, this is the death rate, the death toll. And I'm talking about daily news that would come out in articles and mainstream news. In the early days, it was very much about the death toll, and you got to be scared about the death toll. Then it went to what did it change to? It wasn't cases. I think it was cases.
It moved to cases, yeah.
Yeah, then it moved to cases. You didn't really hear about the death toll very often. Then every day it was cases, changing the measurement metric so you could have bigger numbers, even though the death rate actually started falling, which is why they switched to counting by cases. And then after cases, they started – what did they switch to after cases? They switched to something else. As long as it lets your numbers keep climbing, you measure by, use different measurements. And that's kind of the funky thing about this era of the Great Reset we're moving into. It's specifically looking to use different metrics, different measurements to measure success. And on one hand, there could be a way that would be spun as a positive. There are certainly positive ways of measuring things. But, traditionally, the economy is measured by GDP, your gross domestic product, and deficit ratios, debt ratios as well. Mm-hmm. And now the key to the Great Reset is you start measuring different things. So you can measure success in things like race, gender equality, and climate change, all the while your gross domestic product or the traditional metrics of economic success could be, in a worse off shape than ever. Yeah. So, and that's part of the plan too. It's all about this communication. Now, I do want to say real quick, there's a lot of hubbub going around about Biden, being a socialist and being a communist and these types of things. The one thing we do have to remember, and things can always change, but the one thing to remember about Biden is he is a pretty hardcore established corporate Democrat. He takes a lot of money from corporations. Over the years, most of his actions in the Senate have benefited, big corporate America and his Wall Street buddies. His actions have never really been, in the benefit of the common man, which is generally considered a bad thing. But in the context of socialism and things like that, I really don't think he's a socialist in a way that a lot of, right-wing blogs and whoever want us to think of him. Now, that's not to say I think he's going to do a great job, because the only thing worse than a socialist is a corporate socialist.
Which, by the way, the reason why China has become so powerful in the world is through a corporate style of communism. It wasn't, and we're kind of, we should be a little bit clear. You say socialism, communism, they're different things, but
sure.
but it's similar in approach to how.
And to be fair, there's a lot of things worse than a socialist, not just a corporate socialist. So
Sure.
that was a little bit of hyperbole. But the point being that if indeed the real dangerous thing about Biden's economic policy would be him mixing his corporate allegiances with this sort of fake communication of caring about the common man in order to enact policies similar to the Chinese system, which is the real big threat.
Right. The social credit score.
Right. That kind of stuff.
And part of this is going to be very apparent immediately as he takes office. This is CBS News on first day as President Biden to issue 17 executive actions on COVID, climate change, immigration, and more. And I'm not going to read the article all the way. It's going to just be, reversing Trump's thing with the Paris Agreement. Oh, here's a quick list from COVID-19 response. The 100 Days of Mask Challenge. That's
great.
Gonna be,
it's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
That's how you got to get it.
Oh,
get the people going in this age of TikTok.
Oh, this is a bad idea. I don't like this at all. Restructure federal government coordination to the COVID-19 pandemic. So he's going to do Obama style.
Yeah, well, that's him he doesn't want to continue with Operation Warp Speed. He wants his own plan.
Right.
You can't let this vestige of the failed Trump pandemic response survive.
He's going to recreate the position that Trump eliminated, the Directorate for Global Health Security and Biodefense. So Trump didn't have that guy. So obviously, we're just chaos in the streets. But once we have the global health security and biodefense guy, things will be back to normal. And then rejoin the World Health Organization. Yay.
Cool.
Yay, Biden. You're
cool
so awesome.
It says, get your Tide Pods ready.
Financial relief for Americans. Extend eviction and foreclosure moratoriums. That's really, I don't like that at all.
It's not great for landlords.
No, well, not just landlords. And I'm going to go on my Newsom rant later, but
we've all been waiting for your Newsom rant for weeks now.
I let out a little steam in the last episode with the way the governments are planning to buy up housing that's in foreclosure and stuff, and this is part of that, because if the landowners or property owners can't pay their mortgage based on tenants, and the tenants don't have to pay, then those houses are not going to be in the hands of those people anymore. And at least in California, they structured it, a new law had passed where governments and individuals have first rights to those properties, which means the governments are going to own a bunch of foreclosed homes. I mean, before it was banks, not any better, but at least it wasn't government. Now it's government. Not a good direction. Continue pause on student loan payments until September 30th. Well, all the students are excited about that one. Environment, rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement. Yay.
Pointless.
End Keystone XL pipeline and revoke oil and gas development at national wildlife monuments. Did you have an opinion about this? I thought you sent me something about this.
I think that's generally fine. I'm not really too excited about blasting oil pipelines through national monuments and other people's land.
Well, Trump was stoked about it.
Yeah, I know.
America, number one in oil.
Taking land from reservations and blasting through national, the dwindling natural areas in the U.S. Not to say that I'm, turning into a Greta Thunberg over here, but we've got very few protected lands in America.
Yeah. Human rights actions to advance racial.
Bigfoot needs his space to roam. Let the Sasquatch roam.
Oh yeah, Sasquatch rights. The next big movement in the politics. Human rights actions to advance racial equity through the federal government. Not a good idea. I don't know. And this ties into
that's basing policy on critical race theory, which is a little bit backwards. I don't need to get into it, but a little bit backwards in that, the government making decisions based on people's skin color is always I understand how there can be good intentions behind that. Just historically, when governments start making different laws for people with different skin tones, it has not worked out.
No. And part of that also I'll get into after the break. I have my Newsom science update. And that's my Newsom story that I'll get to later. Count non-citizens in U.S. Census again. So apparently the Constitution requires that for the Census Act that every resident be counted, whether they are citizens or not. Strengthen workplace discrimination protections based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Immigration stuff that Trump put in there. Regulation. Freeze last-minute Trump administration regulatory actions. And then ethics. Formulate executive branch ethics doctrine. More bureaucracy, please.
Doctrine.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff Biden's going to do. And, again, going back to his speech, to me, the interpretation I had of his speech as go back to sleep, Americans, it's going to be kind of milquetoast. A lot of boring stories that are.
And I think a lot on the left are going to be very disappointed about that.
I think so too. Yeah, no one to get mad at.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The left is going to have a hard time of it through at least the first part of a Biden presidency, in that he's not going to do the things that he got elected on as far as the
immigration stuff, border stuff.
Yeah, as far as the more radical stuff, there really became a large segment of the left that became quite radical in comparison to previous generations of Democrats. And I just don't see Biden doing any of it. And a lot of people are more focused on the Kamala, the Kamala potential, I guess you'd call it. But, all in all, that's still very theoretical.
Yeah,
we really don't know.
We need a Kamala jingle, all you producers out there. Come up with a Kamala jingle.
Yeah, I think you've got a couple of weeks until Kamala takes over. So that gives you some time to do it.
If she does at all. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of milquetoast stuff. And there's going to be a honeymoon period here where anything Biden does is just so great for America. Especially
a lot of positive mainstream spin.
Especially as he undoes Trump policy. That's going to be the narrative for a while, fixing what Trump messed up.
Right.
And all this kind of stuff. But to get a glimpse of what that might be like.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
Oh, this is behind a paywall.
Oh, I got it.
New York Times.
Aha, and I'm so happy.
Yeah, go for it.
Do it. The headline reads, Biden has a Peloton bike that raises issue at the White House. Sorry, Peloton. Think of this as great marketing, too, for Peloton.
Well, you know why.
President-elect Joseph R. Biden Jr. moves into the White House on Wednesday facing many weighty issues: a global pandemic, a crushing recession, racial injustice, right-wing extremism.
Okay.
But Mr. Biden's personal weight control and exercise regimen will face a different kind of burning question. Can he bring his Peloton bike with him?
Oh, gosh. Pressing issues.
The answer, thank you, New York Times. The answer, cybersecurity experts say, is yes, sort of. But more on that later.
Okay.
Now, for those who don't know, a Peloton, for the uninitiated, is part indoor stationary bike, part social media network. The bikes are expensive, upward of $2,500 a piece, and have tablets attached, enabling riders to live stream or take on demand classes and communicate with one another. Each rider has a leaderboard name, a unique identifier posted on the screen alongside output, a measure of how hard the rider is working. When Mr. Biden was cloistered during the coronavirus surge this spring, the New York Times reported, we got to give credit to the New York Times for reporting that he began each day with a workout in an upstairs gym that contains a Peloton bike, weights, and a treadmill. The Biden team did not respond to requests for comment. Oh, the hard-hitting issues. But a person close to the president-elect said that Mr. Biden and his wife, Jill Biden, engage in regular morning negotiations over who gets to ride first. Okay. First of all, we all know how much I hate this new journalistic standard where you can just say, somebody close to the issue, somebody familiar with the issue. So somebody close to the president-elect said that Mr. Biden and his wife, Jill Biden, engage in regular morning negotiations over who gets to ride first. There's a mole. There's a mole in the Biden household. Is it the dog? Who is it snitching on the Biden's marriage negotiations?
You know what this is, right? The reality of what is going on here. Peloton. According to Barron's.com, George Soros bought a big Peloton stake March 11th, 2020.
There
So this is Soros stock. And of course, now that Soros has his men in place here, he can cash in on it.
Ooh, Soros is trying to snoop on the White House.
Well, yeah, that too. But also, great opportunity to get old man Joe on the stationary surveillance bike.
This is an endorsement. So yes, a company owned by Soros, which is a genius move on the part of this company, has an unofficial endorsement of their exercise bike from the President of the United States, written in the New York Times.
In the New York Times, yeah.
You cannot have a better marketing plan. Whoever is in charge of PR at Peloton is a genius. But here's a couple of the interesting specs. But the Peloton tablets have built-in cameras and microphones that allow users to see and hear one another if they choose. And for Mr. Biden, therein lies the rub. The last thing the CIA wants is the Russians and Chinese peering or listening into the White House gymnasium. I thought it was interesting they referenced the CIA here and not the Secret Service. Last week, Popular Mechanics warned about the security risk under the headline, quote, "Why Joe Biden Can't Bring His Peloton Bike to the White House." The article prompted an explosion of chatter in the Peloton world. But really, cybersecurity experts say if Mr. Biden wants his bike, he can surely have it, though it might bear little resemblance to the off the assembly line version of this after the Secret Service and the National Security Agency are finished with it. There have been news reports that Michelle Obama has a modified Peloton.
Ooh, modified. Is it like jailbroken? Jailbroken Peloton bikes?
Well, here it is. Mr. Biden would not be the first occupant of the White House whose desire for electronics clashed with the cybersecurity needs of being president. You can't. This is the New York Times, Gonz. You know what's coming. Mm-hmm. President Trump flouted White House security protocols by calling old friends on his iPhone. And President Barack Obama insisted on bringing his BlackBerry. So this is a nice analytic breakdown of the writing of the New York Times. President Trump flouted White House security protocols by talking on his iPhone. Oh, no. But President Barack Obama insisted on bringing his BlackBerry. So let's see here. Where is the part where they, let's see here. Well, basically, the long and short of it is, if he wants to bring his exercise bike, he has to tear out the not just the microphone and the camera, but also the networking capabilities, the actual thing that connects it to the internet, because hackers could use the Peloton bike as a portal to hack into White House networks. So there you go. Congrats, Peloton, on this advertising on the New York Times that happens to connect your product to not just the Bidens, not just Jill and what's his name? Joe Biden, but also Michelle Obama. So it's hard to get any more of a celebrity endorsement than that.
Yep. There you go.
Yep. Okay, let's see. What's next?
Let's fly through some, I think we're done with politics here for a little bit. Let's fly through some updates here.
Okay.
We interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
660.
got a couple 666 updates. Woo. And I tweeted this out a couple days ago. Romans 12, verse 21, embedded in the 666,666th block of Bitcoin.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, this was very interesting.
Yeah, so I had to go out and verify it for myself. It was a little hard to find the OP_return of the hash there. But every transaction, every block has a list of its hashes, and certain ones have a script and a hex, and you can get a text out of it. And yep, there it is. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:21. So I thought that was interesting.
Very interesting.
If you know a thing or two about how Bitcoin works, people can leave embedded messages in there. There's a message in the Genesis block. There's a lot of like biblical references in Bitcoin. Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But there was another one on there as well on the same 666th block. And the message was, the Garden of Eden 3D is alive. Eden3D.io, which I guess is like this 3D printing company.
Right.
And so, yeah, they left a little advertisement in the block there. So just something to point out there. And there's prayers and stuff all, embedded in there over the years. And so just something to keep in mind. Very, very interesting.
I'm going to make a suggestion, Gonz, because we got to get you out of here pretty soon. You want to just do headlines on these brief updates?
Yeah, I'm not going to these are very short anyway. So let me just move on. 666. Here's another one. OregonLive.com. Coronavirus in Oregon. State reports 666 new cases, 3 new deaths.
Booyah.
Booyah. There you go. And then a couple 33 updates.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
Illinois coronavirus update. This is January 19th. 4,318 new cases, 33 deaths.
Oh, no.
They just, they love it. They love the 33.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
And California urges stop to 300,000 vaccines after some fall ill. This is ctvnews.ca. And the real reason why this is a 33 update is because it said here that more than 330,000 doses from the lot arrived in California between January 5th and January 12th, were distributed to 287 providers. And out of those, fewer than 10 who received the vaccine at the same community site needed medical attention. And those are the 330,000 doses that they're trying to pull back on. So there you go. Moderna. I think we reported it. Did we mention it on the last episode? I thought we did. They're pulling back Moderna. And not really. I'm not too upset about it. And then lastly, real quick, I just want to mention this because I thought it was interesting. CNBC.com. NRA files for bankruptcy, says it will reincorporate in Texas. So the National Rifle Association filed for bankruptcy protection as part of a restructuring plan aimed at moving the influential gun rights group to Texas. The filing comes 6 months after New York State Attorney General filed a lawsuit seeking to dissolve the NRA for allegedly misappropriating funds. So I don't know. People were kind of skeptical of the bankruptcy and this exodus to Texas for all people conservative and right-leaning and freedom-toting folk is almost complete with the NRA moving there now. And so just keep your eye on that, especially concerning the Trump Patriot Pale Horse Party.
Where were they before?
New York.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I guess I just would have assumed they would have already been in Texas.
I think obviously there's probably chapters and stuff, but
right.
I think their headquarters were in New York. So there you go. Stuff to keep in mind. And let's take a quick break. And after the break, we have the main story after the break has to do with CRISPR and biosurveillance. And a big update there, which connects to the vaccines and the totalitarian scientific dictatorship panopticon trying to control us all. So, you ready for the break?
I'm ready. Okay, folks, we're just going to take a quick breather, but don't go anywhere because, as Gonz said, we got some very important stories after the break. Okay, so we're going to start out by thanking some of the producers who came in for show episode number 289 of Canary Cry News Talk. That is our inauguration special. So we'll start out. Well, first, let me just mention we are on the value for value model, which means we do not take any corporate money, not even on YouTube or anywhere, baby. They're not giving us nothing. And that's for a couple of reasons. One of them is it just would not be right after all we have known and helped made public and things like that. Information about big data and privacy and big tech and all those types of things just wouldn't be right for us to participate in those types of things. As you know, if you've been paying attention, the whole reason for Facebook privacy concerns and Gmail snooping everywhere and Google recording everything you do on the internet, it's all done under the guise of advertising so they can monetize their products by snooping around in your business too much. And so participating in the advertising industry would just be a moral problem for us to get into. Now, here's the thing. Advertising is a good option for a lot of people who are making stuff on the internet and trying to continue doing that work, but it just would be completely wrong for us to take that corporate money while at the same time talking about the things that we talk about. And on top of that, they just isn't right for us to be incentivized by advertising companies to think of you, dear listener, not as a human being with your own hopes and dreams and view of the world, but instead as a commodity, as cattle to be loaded up on a truck and sent off for our own personal gain. So instead, we're on the value for value model. That's right. And this invites you, dear listener, to become a producer of the show, to take some responsibility for which media actually gets to continue out into the future, which media, what the value of the media you enjoy is. Is it set by advertising companies and how well they can stay within the boundaries of brand safe communication, or is the value of that media set by people who enjoy it and trust it and want it to keep going? And that's why we're on the value for value model. It invites you to take some responsibility for the future of how news is going to be disseminated in the future. And if you follow my Twitter account, you have seen that, first of all, mainstream media news outlets are now asking for donations. Poor guys. Those poor guys. As well as doing sponsored social ads on their social media. Yikes. Which was a system that was created for influencers and the Kardashians and stuff to be able to monetize their social media accounts. And now, of course, CNBC just can't pay their bills, so they have to sell out like the Kardashians. So anyways, that's why we love the value for value model, and our producers love it as well. And you really do become producers. That's not just a cute gimmicky thing. If you pay to keep a piece of media going, you are, by industry standards, a producer. So there's a few ways you can do that. First of all, you can head over to patreon.com/CCNT, and that's patreon.com/CCNT. It's been a quiet month. It's been a quiet year over on Patreon, but that's okay. I do want to give a big old thank you to our new producer, Eric R.
Thank you, producer Eric.
Thank you very much, producer Eric R. And those out there in listener land, remember to thank your producers and say a little prayer for them, because it's because of them that we're able to keep doing the show. Now, We also have another Patreon called patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. Just a little heads up, Canary Cry Radio is our first podcast that we have been doing for almost a decade now. And it's an interview style podcast, and you're going to love it. So if you haven't done it yet, listen to Canary Cry Radio. You can find it on all your podcast players. But over on patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio, we have a new producer named Producer Radio 403.
Thank you, Producer Radio 403.
Thank you very much, Radio 403. Okay, now, if you don't like Patreon, that's totally okay. We understand. You don't got to like Patreon. That's why we have canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support. Your 24-hour-a-day place for becoming a producer of Canary Cry News Talk. And if you head on over there, you'll see a lot of literature about the value for value model. You'll also be able to become a producer, a monthly producer, which is wonderful. We thank all of our monthly producers for helping lay down a firm foundation to continue doing the show. Or you can become a producer, a one-time producer in any amount. That's for those who are a little uncomfortable with commitment. Gonz, who do we have coming in on the PayPal?
All right. First off, we want to thank producer Saul.
Thank you very much, producer Saul.
Coming in again, and
with
also
$7.77.
Yes,
77 cents. 777 producership.
Also, producer Jessica.
Thank you very much, Producer Jessica.
She says, guys, I left you on Patreon, but don't worry, I'll support you here on your website. Love you both. Keep up the great work. Thank you,
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you.
And also, producer Stephanie M.
Thank you very much, Stephanie M. And she comes in with the $33 Patreon. No, not Patreon. $33 producership. She's our Illuminati handler for the show.
We have so many of them. Lady Bird's Haberdashery.
Yep.
Donating with a number 33 tribute to my family history. It's all true, people. Thanks to you both for the excellent reporting. On this selection day, we will need you even more. For anyone wanting biblical info with today's issues, please visit Little Winged One. That's Little Winged with a number 1. New channel on YouTube. May we both fly under the radar for a little while longer. Blessings, Cherie at Little Winged One, youtube.com/channel/UCK0X.
Just search Little Winged One.
Yeah.
Little Winged One for anyone wanting biblical info with today's issues.
How dare you
Thank
cut
you very
me off
much,
trying to
producer.
give the link.
Yeah, no. Thank you very much, Lady Bird's Haberdashery.
Yes, and we also accept cryptocurrencies, and we did receive a little bit of Bitcoin, 0.00330759 Bitcoin from Michael C. So thank you, producer Michael C.
Yeah, thank you very much. And Michael C. sent their tithe via Bitcoin, they said.
Yeah, so very cool. Also, the other ways you can help produce the show is with your time and talent, and we accept jingles as potential show topics, but also for the end of show mix. And today we have some jingles that were sent in. This first one from producer Eric, and producer Eric says, I was listening to last episode of CCNT Capture the False Flag, and while you were signing off, Basil said, everything you know is a lie, which reminded me of a podcast musical I used to listen to, Fall of the House of Sunshine. So I went back and grabbed some clips for jingles. Fuzzy news or journalistic intent. He goes into kind of where we can use them. Let me play some of them for you. This one is everything you know is a lie.
Everything you know is a lie.
Not bad. This one is fuzzy news.
You gotta tell them what they want to hear. You gotta tell them what they need to hear. You gotta spell it out nice and unclear. That's fuzzy news.
That's
good.
fuzzy news.
Fuzzy news. This one is called Journalistic Intent.
Entertainment with the claim of journalistic intent.
And these are all clipped from a longer song here. Who gives a hello?
Who gives a hello if it's yellow so long as it's red? Aha.
I don't know if I get that one.
A leader knows what to do.
But when your people get mad, don't get sad. A leader knows what to do. Shove their heads full of circus and bread. They can't complain while they chew and they chew and they chew.
So there you go. This podcast seems like they had a real good time putting this thing together. Is there one out of these clips that you like, Basil?
Well, I like the first one. Yeah,
I like that one.
That one. It's a little snappier, and I mean they've all got application.
Sure. Yeah. We'll have it in the bag here, and we'll pull them out as we see fit. So that's producer Eric. Thank you, producer Eric. That's Runk Smash in the Twitch chat. So thank you very much for that. And next up we have Lloyd. Lloyd also sent in a jingle that we already played today.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
Unfortunately, it didn't go down quite like that today.
Execute Order 66 did not happen.
No. But it's a jingle worth having because we can always bring it up.
We do refer to it more often than I think any other podcast.
You know, it's funny, too. I was talking to my wife about everything going on, but trying to keep it real short and sweet and simple for her to digest. And I said, but, you know, the other possibility other than nothing is that they're going to pull off this execute Order 66 thing. And she goes, well, what's that? And I said, in Star Wars, and she said, I'm going to cut you off right there. I don't want to hear any Star Wars analogies to reality. So I said, oh, okay. I'll just keep it on the show, I guess. I know. Art. We have art here.
One art, please.
First one I want to share is from producer Ali. Woo! And this needs a little explanation.
Yeah, so regarding last episode, we talked about the man in London who had thrown away a hard drive with a bunch of Bitcoin, $280 million worth of Bitcoin, who is petitioning the city to let him dig through the junkyard to find his hard drive. And that's exactly what Ali has depicted here. Just a dejected man, big bushy beard, some shaggy hair, walking around the junkyard, kicking a can. And what's that on the can? A pair of little googly eyes.
That's right.
That's right. And also down at the bottom, you can see somebody's thrown away a MacBook there that also has googly eyes. So this is in the future when the
post-apocalypse.
Yes, when the googly eyes have taken over and all the Canarians have stuck googly eyes on all their possessions. And this says, the note included Cool Runningsman on Twitch challenged Ali to draw the guy who is searching the landfill for his hard drive full of Bitcoin. So here he is. Oh, poor guy. Good luck, Bitcoin trash man.
The mythology is true now that Ali has drawn it. It has come to life.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you, producer Ali. Keep it up. Next up, we have Lloyd, who also came with the Execute Order 66 jingle. He got the picture. I knew Biden's a puppet. We mentioned it earlier, but there it is.
We got to get the side by side. And yes, for those just listening, this is the picture of Walter, the puppet. Added this. Let's see here. What does he say? Walter belongs to Jeff Dunham. Yes. You got to get a side by side. There were moments where Joe was just sitting there with the Walter face, and it was really uncanny, the resemblance. So thank you very much, Lloyd. We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I'm trying to show the audience here maybe a comparison there. Yeah, it's very close. Very close. Very good depiction there. Just prophetic for Jeff Dunham. Okay, thank you, producer Lloyd. Next up we have... was that not Lloyd? Oh, no, this is another Lloyd. Did Lloyd have two that he sent in?
No. What's the other Lloyd?
Okay, wait, hold on. Whose is this now? Josiah!
Yes,
Producer
that's
Josiah came in with this, it's Godzilla versus King Kong, and Godzilla has a samurai helmet, which is me, I guess. And King Kong has googly eyes. And it says,
who could that be?
Just another episode of Canary Cry News Talk. I'm glad this is what is envisioned in Josiah's mind as he listens, is a giant samurai Godzilla and googly-eyed King Kong.
Yes, very fun. Thank you, producer Josiah.
Yes. And next we have producer Ciara. She's the leader of the
leader.
The leader.
She has been putting together the Canary Cry meetups, the Zoom meetups, which we did miss the last one, but they're doing that every third Saturday, if I remember correctly.
I think she sent us a note with an update of how that went.
Good.
I'm trying to find it here. Give me a second.
I'll take a look and I'll describe this. And this was fun. This was actually a meme put together by the Canary Cry singles group. I think that's on the canarycry.community, a real website, our separate social media hangout zone. Get off the Facebooks, folks, and head over to canarycry.community. There's a singles group. And also a fun, another game of, I forget what it's called. It's like a murder mystery thread. And in the most recent game going on in the murder mystery thread, I've been killed. And we have a lot of very talented detectives trying to figure out who done it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. It's fun. Go check it out. So, yes, this is a speed dating meme. And on the right, there's a young woman. And on the left, there's a young man. And they're sitting at a table. And the young man is asking, favorite documentary? The young woman says, Age of Deceit. And the young man says, all right, she's the one. Booyah. That's how you find love, folks.
Yeah.
Connect through the conspiracy documentaries.
Yes.
I wouldn't even say Age of Deceit is a conspiracy documentary. It's more of a supernatural truther exposition.
Yeah. I'm trying to find this note. I don't know what happened to it, Ciara. I saw it come in. And I think it was basically that they had the chat or the Zoom call open for a while. Oh, here it is. She said it went great. We ended up having the room open from 10:45 a.m. to 4 p.m. Great fellowship. Talked about how life is going for us, what brought us to the meeting, and Canary Cry, Heaven, and Outreach. And she started a thread in the community for people who may need a quicker way of connection by phone call or text. So there you go. Thank you, producer Ciara.
I think I Fight Sin was there in Twitch, and they say we were safe and warm in our people Zoom.
There it is. Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay, thank you, producer Ciara, for the meme. And next up, producer Grace coming in. This first one here is another quote. I don't like that they are encroaching on my brand, Basil.
Yes.
Pair of googly eyes.
And reflecting in the googly eyes is the tiny little delivery robot that is taking over the food delivery industry in LA.
That's right. So
thank you very much.
Thank you for that. And then her second one, Hairy Legs Live Day. That was my quote.
Wow, those are hairy legs.
He needs don't touch him, kids.
Yeah,
it's not good.
They turn blonde in the sun. Thank you very much, producer Grace, for our quote art. Always a pleasure to be reminded of the wonderful things we say.
Yes.
And thank you to all of our producers, our artists, and our financial producers. Oh, we do have a big thank you to Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps on last episode. For those who don't know, over on the YouTube, we got timestamps that help you navigate the show without having to sit through and listen to the whole thing. And today, Gonz, we've got a birthday.
Yeah, this is a special birthday shout out to Mel from Truth Stream Media. So, hey, Mel, happy birthday.
Yeah.
It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me.
That's right.
And
thank you very much, Mel, for being born.
And, it's funny. We were going back and forth in a message, and she said, this is a couple days ago. She said, I wonder what I'm getting for my birthday. Biden or martial law. So, and I told her through through Twitter, I said, "Happy birthday, Mel. You got Biden." Happy birthday.
It could have been both, but
it could have been.
not so
It could have been
far.
both. And just a quick note on Truth Stream Media. There's a document here. It's called "Evaluating the Scale, Growth, and Origins of Right-Wing Echo Chambers on YouTube."
Oh, cool.
And it's got David M. Rothschild, which I don't think he's the official Rothschild. I think he's the one that claims he's not associated with the Rothschilds family group there. But this is from...
Unlikely story.
Yeah. But on this document, Truth Stream Media is listed as center. So they have a chart here of far left outlets, center outlets, right, and then far right, which is a humongous list of far right.
Wow.
I'm bummed that we didn't get to, we didn't land on the list. Which,
we didn't make it on the list.
No, we didn't.
This is not a good study if we're not on the list. Actually, no, never mind. I don't want to be on the list. We are supernaturally kept off of lists, and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean, literally this list on the far right, they got like Richie from Boston. The scariest movie ever is considered far right, which I don't know about that. Dabu 77. Who else did I
Face
recognize?
Like the Sun not make it on there?
No, not in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Let's keep it that way.
Blaze TV.
Nobody put us on any lists.
Yeah, and then right is Epoch Times, Project Veritas, which I was like, really? Project Veritas is right, but Richie from Boston is far right? Okay, whatever. But yeah, Truth Stream Media made it into the center aisle, which I guess if you're going to make an aisle, center is all right. But you know who's in the center aisle is David Wilcock. Mr. 2012, we're all going to ascend to some supernatural whatever.
Yeah, that's fun.
That guy. The Hill, RT America, Genetically Modified Skeptic. Have you heard of that guy?
No.
Neither have I. But, yep, there you go. Those are the... And I don't think No Agenda is on this list either.
Well, see, I think that's good. I think we're on it's better to be off that list than on it.
And I like how USA Today is considered center. And CBS News is considered center. Please get over yourself, Mr. Rothschild and people that did this crazy long study that's 30 pages long. Anyway, happy birthday to Mel and Canary Cry merch perch.
There's a few more calendars left. If you haven't gotten your Canary Cry calendar for 2021, head over to canarycrymerchperch.com. Just a handful of them left. You're not going to want to miss it. I don't think producer Isaac does not show indications of doing another print. So if you want your exclusive Canary Cry calendar, you're going to want to do that. Head over to canarycrymerchperch.com.
And, I ordered the Swole shirt, the tank top. I haven't received it yet, and I don't know if I missed a message from...
Well, he gave us the message before. It's a manufacturing thing.
Okay, so there wasn't enough people that got it.
It's a small operation. This is not Amazon here.
I know, I get it. I understand. Yeah. But I just, I was really hoping to just wear it one day and just show up on the show.
Well, you still can. There's still time.
I know. But I was hoping to do it by now, but it hasn't happened yet. So
that's okay.
Looking forward to the day.
You do what you got to do, Producer Dust.
Yeah.
We understand. Don't let Gonz pressure you.
I will turn into grumpy Godzilla Gonz.
Yes.
And
all right, we got to get going, man. We're running out of time here.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Yep, and we have a CRISPR update.
CRISPR.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
This is coming from genengnews.com, genetic engineering, biotechnology news. And the headline is DARPA to fund CRISPR diagnostics using Mammoth, IDbyDNA Technologies. Oh, yay. Mammoth Biosciences will apply its Detector TM platform and IDbyDNA, its proprietary pathogen database and algorithms toward the development of CRISPR-based diagnostics and biosurveillance technologies against varied disease threats for the U.S. Department of Defense. Wow, it's just a They just
it's an alphabet soup panopticon.
Yeah, all in one sentence. You got ID by DNA, CRISPR, Department of Defense, biosurveillance,
algorithms, databases.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mammoth and ID by DNA are among subcontractors under a 4-year, up to $36.7 million CRISPR diagnostics contract inked by DoD's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, with prime contractor MRI Global. The contract enables DARPA to carry out its Detect It with Gene Editing Technologies, DIGET program.
Isn't it Digit?
Sure.
Or Digit? Digit.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't spell anything, but Digit sounds good. Digit calls for developing a, quote, massively multiplexed detection device for 1,000 or more targets, as well as a handheld disposable point-of-need device for detection of at least 10 targets, both pathogens and host biomarkers. DARPA identified 5 disease categories for which the device should detect pathogens and biomarkers: respiratory illness, febrile illnesses, vector-borne illnesses, gastrointestinal illnesses, and sepsis. So basically COVID, the flu, the cold, gastrointestinal farts,
tummies,
and sepsis.
Yeah.
Mammoth, the Brisbane, California-based CRISPR-based diagnostics developer, whose co-founder included Nobel laureate and genome editing pioneer Jennifer Doudna, PhD, serves as the primary subcontractor for MRI Global for the point-of-need device and will contribute to development of the MMD platform along with additional partners. One of the cool things about this project is that one of the goals is really to bring things up to 10-plex even, which is really exciting. That's the next level of plexing. Okay. Mammoth Biosciences, Trevor Martin. Mammoth is partnering, and there's a bunch of business stuff. But basically, we are continuing the journey into biosurveillance. Basically, they're making little guns that they can point at you and detect diseases. So you can expect this to be included in your trip to the airport. First, you get a nice loving pat down by the TSA, then they aim this little gun at you and will decide if you are healthy enough to ride.
Yeah, it's really the one thing that has been consistent and was a criticism even when Trump took office was they're not talking about the surveillance technology apparatus at all. And it just continued to move forward. And then COVID accelerated it even more. And under a Biden presidency, I feel like things are just going to skyrocket with more of this type of invasive stuff. And, we talked about earlier how we're going to have kind of a Chinese style social credit score thing. And they couldn't outright do it by itself. So they had to spread the Rona so that there's an excuse, right? And we've said that from the beginning.
Conspiracy theories.
I don't know about conspiracy.
Listen to this crazy talk.
UCSF Health Clinical Laboratories was granted an FDA emergency use authorization in July for the SARS-CoV-2 RNA detector assay, which Mammoth co-developed through its partnership with UCSF Professor Charles Chu. Sounds Chinese to me. Sorry, MD, PhD. Am I being racist? Is that racist of me?
Yeah, but only because you're Japanese.
Am I allowed to criticize that? Who is also the director of the UCSF Abbott Viral Diagnostics, blah, blah, blah. There you go.
Yeah.
So, this has been the concern with CRISPR from the get-go, that they're going to use it as a surveillance tool, not just for gene editing, but gene detection or biosurveillance.
Biosurveillance, yeah.
Yeah, so, this is exactly, again, you just, you kind of jokingly mentioned the conspiracy theorist, but this is the type of information that is it's not even conspiracy theory, it's just fact that this
the fun
apparatus
part
is
was that it used to be conspiracy theory, and now it's real, and that's the joke.
I tried to tell you.
I know.
All right, tell us about your favorite guy.
One last thing here. We'll just end on this one because we have a new jingle.
It's Newsom science, baby! Ha!
That's Brent Pella doing Gavin Newsom impressions, and I love it. Okay, so this is from the Sacramento Bee, and actually this is from September 2020, but I included it here because it relates to a story from earlier about Biden and a lot of his moves that he's going to do. California it's already in law for California. Gavin Newsom signs new law requiring California companies to name minority or LGBTQ leaders. It's a law now. And it says here, Newsom signed a law.
I mean, name a minority or LGBTQ leaders.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Assembly Bill 979. Let's just go straight to, well, we can, the article's, whatever, it's long. So I'm just going to go straight to the bill. Assembly Bill number 979. And, man, I should have highlighted it before because I had it highlighted on my phone, but I don't have it here. But
give us the intro paragraphs or something. Let us know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom signed a law aimed at compelling public corporations headquartered in California to appoint minority or LGBTQ directors to their board of directors. It mirrors legislation signed by former Governor Jerry Brown in 2018 that requires California-based corporations to appoint women to their boards of directors. Quote, when we talk about racial justice, we talk about empowerment, we talk about power, and we need to talk about seats at the table, Newsom said before signing the bill. The new law, Assembly Bill 979, directs corporations to appoint leaders from underrepresented communities defined as people who identify as Black, Latino, Native American, Asian American, Pacific Islander, Native Hawaiian, or Native Alaskan. Companies also can comply with the law by appointing directors who self-identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. The law requires corporations to have at least one director from an underrepresented community by the end of 2021. Additionally, corporations with more than 4 directors but fewer than 9 would require a minimum of 2 diverse directors. A corporation with 9 or more directors must have at least 3 directors from an underrepresented community by 2022 to comply with the law. Companies that don't comply with the law could face fines between $100,000 and $300,000. According to Holden's office, the fines will be imposed by the Secretary of State. And I really wish I had some parts highlighted here because it actually pointed out a section where they kind of lumped in white with Asians because there was like 50.
Because Asians aren't a minority anymore, apparently.
Well, in California too, there's a pretty big Asian population. I think this is it here. The people of the state of California do enact as follows. The legislation finds and declares as follows. Section 1A, according to the United States Bureau of Statistics, only 31% of African Americans and 22% of Latinos worked in management, professional, and related occupations, while 54% of Asians and 41% of whites worked in the same occupation. So again, they're kind of lumped together, the Asian and white there. But anyway, the point being, and I think there was a couple other things highlighted here, but the point being that anytime you direct positions based on skin color, race, or I don't know, gender, sexual identity, whatever. Like you mentioned, the intentions, I guess, are good to try to have representation from underrepresented groups, but ultimately, this is not a good policy. This is the kind of thing that, again, you're not putting people in these seats based on qualification. It's based on something completely irrelevant.
Well, I will say I'm sure a company that is trying to follow these directives are finding qualified people to fit into that little puzzle piece that they're being. There's plenty of qualified people of color and women and LGBTQ people, but it's just weird on almost on a philosophical level. It's just I don't know. Well, the alternative, Gonz, to what you're saying is that only white men are.
Well, that's what they say in this. That's what they say in this thing is that they did a study of how many board members are white, and there's like I can't find the spot here, but basically they say like, out of the however many thousands of companies or boards that are in California, a good percentage of them only have white people in them.
No, I'm sure they are, but what I'm saying is, you mentioned saying, oh, don't put anybody qualified, do it just on their skin color. What I'm saying is there are plenty of qualified people of the, the correct skin color and sexual orientation that they would, so I don't want to make it sound like people who are putting in these positions are unqualified. It's just, again, in the historical precedent of forcing companies and people to make decisions based on people's skin color it's just a shaky one. It's just a shaky. Yeah, there's not a lot of great historical precedent for that kind of decision making.
Yeah, because it quantifies people's. I don't know. It's just more racist. It seems like to do that than to.
Well, it's identity politics. It's the critical race theory. It's just all that it's having to force this type of
because okay, a lot of the communities in California are it's a pretty diverse state. There's a lot of diversity in California, but there are like little cliques or sections or parts of towns that for example, like the Vietnamese community. There's like a area in Orange County where all the Vietnamese people hang out and live, and that kind of thing. If there's a business in a certain part of the state that doesn't have anybody that does qualify, then they are forced to find someone, and maybe they do qualify, but I don't like the idea that these boards are forced by law to find someone. Which makes it, I don't know, just the whole thing makes it disingenuous. I'm imagining me on a board and by law I have to choose somebody based on their race and to not pay a fine. I don't know. I don't think it actually creates any more of a genuine type of situation in these circumstances.
Well, I think that's the point. Yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't create genuine change, and I think that's the biggest problem. And that's Newsom's problem in general with almost with everything he does. Nothing he does seems genuine. It all seems like political moves for him to look like a good guy to try to get elected again, or whatever he's doing. Very few of his decisions make sense logically.
Yeah, well, that's not a surprise.
All he does is follow the polls. Whatever makes him look like a good guy, he forces on everybody else, and he gets caught. He gets caught being a hypocrite. Yeah. And the funny thing is they're putting requirements on companies because he loves to control the private sector, and yet there's if you really want representation to cause change, why not make rules about the governor or about mayors or about politicians? Why is the private sector the only one forced to make to improve diversity or else be punished? Punish Newsom. Let's get a LGBTQ person to Asian. Oh, I guess Asian doesn't count. But whatever, put these types of restrictions on. If you're going to restrict anybody, restrict the government. Don't restrict the private sector.
Right. Yeah. And when asked what science backs this type of legislation, he said,
"It's Newsom science, baby."
Oh, good.
Okay. I think that's it. I know we have a quick Waccine update here, but I don't. Basically, some people that were critics of the vaccine received money, the bailout money. Nothing too intense or important, I don't think.
No, I thought this was silly. Yeah, they're making a big deal about how there are some anti-vax organizations, and they're not anti-vax organizations. They are organizations that are also anti-vax, who applied and received some coronavirus relief, just like everybody else. It's okay. Just because someone has a different opinion than you doesn't mean that they don't get benefits from the government.
No.
You good liberals.
No. They don't agree. They should not receive the money.
Only the people who hold my exact beliefs can get benefits from the government. Said all liberals ever.
A pandemic special.
The pandemic special rages on, folks. And the new Biden presidency. Yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah. All right. So happy inauguration, everybody. It's nice and quiet. Nice and quiet. Which,
you know what sounds good right now?
No.
Everybody loves waffles.
Waffles.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Ben. All right, everybody. I think that's it. Are we done? You're done?
Yep.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We will be back on Friday. That is January 22nd, 2021. Yes.
Special day on the calendar.
Is it?
Yeah. You had it in the notes.
Oh, this is Gonz's birthday, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a great we got to do a producership, a Gonz's birthday producership.
Yep.
How old are you turning? 29?
I was born in the year of 1983. So I'll let people do the math, and that's the number.
Old.
I am old. I am a.
What is that? 48?
No. Okay, Mr.
38. He's going to be 38.
You're born in the same decade, so don't pretend like it's
that's just what
crazy,
I get. That's what I get for doing live math. So there we go. Yeah, we'll do a so you were born in 1983.
Yep.
1983, so we could do a 1983, or we could do a 38. You're turning 38. Any one of those combinations. 1983 or 38. That'll be the Gonz Happy Birthday producership.
Yay.
So there you go. You can make sure to produce our next show. It's a little light today, but we're very grateful to all of our producers, and those producers for episode number 289, Inauguration Day. Thank you to producer Eric, Radio 403, Stephanie M, Ladybird's Haberdashery, Saul and Jessica, and our crypto producer, Michael C. Thank you all so much for producing this show. And if you want to produce next show, the Gonz Birthday Show, you can head over to patreon.com/CCNT or canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support. We will see you there. But for those who want to support the show, but the financially is not in the cards, that's totally okay. You can help produce the show by creating art, creating jingles, creating music, and sending all those to canarycryradio@protonmail.com or canarycryradio@gmail.com if you want Google to see it all. We appreciate that all very, very much. Remember, we'll be having the Canary Cry mixtape at the end of the show, so make sure to stick around for that. And if you haven't done it yet, over on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, bell button, all. You get it.
Bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
Yes, very good. And there's other ways to help out the show. First of all, you can leave a rating and a review. We'll be reading ratings and reviews on Friday, so maybe you can leave a nice birthday rating and review for Gonz on his birthday. You can do that by searching for Canary Cry News Talk on Apple Podcasts and leaving a review for us. That's very helpful. And again, it's all about taking control of those algorithms, baby. But other than that, you can share the show, share it out on your social media, or you got friends and family who are waking up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. Go ahead and send them an episode of Canary Cry News Talk, and we'll be happy to become a part of that journey for them waking up. And if you need any other instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
When want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
It will kill.
That's right. Just ask Noah, folks. Okie dokie. Well, that just about does it, Gonz. You got any last words?
No, other than thank you for watching or listening. And we just got another piece of art from Josiah, which is hilarious. So stay tuned for that on the next episode.
Relevant. Okay, thank you very much. And remember, if you haven't done it yet, you must subscribe on a podcast feed. You never know when podcast feeds will be the only way to listen to the show. So you pick one. If it's Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, there's thousands of them. Pick one you like. Make sure it has Canary Cry News Talk on it and subscribe. We do post all of these shows after the live broadcast. So if you ever miss one, that's a great way to catch up. Or if we ever just disappear from live broadcasting altogether, you're gonna want to do that. We'll still be putting out shows. Okay, folks, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Demonic power!
You can't handle the truth!
He's a Satanist!
Stop this progress before it is too late!
Phew, hallelujah.
We will launch a new age.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Make way for Basil and Gonz as they expose Babylon. There's a line drawn in the sand. We won't be pulled from his hands. To the Father you lift us up. Jesus, I'm your yacht, I'm your yacht to you. You pledge yourself to me. Your burn is life and desire. No pass and nothing. Every creature will bow the knee in one place, in one accord. We await the coming of the Lord. Most high, daily sanctifying his bride. I'm your yacht, I'm your yacht to you. You pledge yourself to me, for your burden is life and desire. Oh Lord, soften this heart of stone. Lord, give us eyes to see those in need of a truth. Lord, give us ears to hear you bottom out our tears. Lord, give us words to speak. Make us humble and weak. Let living water flow to let America know.
Pot, that's where I started.
Light up a huge blunt.
A joint.
Give everybody
Magic
mushrooms. Smoke.
The CIA, I mean, lots of intelligence agencies have tested secretly dosing communities. LSD.
Psychoactive pills should be covertly administered. Just put me on some, I don't know.
You get shot in the butt.
Fluoride,
Oxytocin.
get a chemical hug.
I did dabble, some of that robot crack. I know what it's like.
It's a lethal recipe for disaster. You need help.
If you're a pharmacist, you need to repent.
All right, weird.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all away.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way.
Left wing, right wing, 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 left wing, right wing.
Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Same bird.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. 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 Don't let them drain you all the way.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Robot girls,
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
It's a bidet. Don't get me started.
Humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. Fat and sad.